Nico, thank you.
No,
Thank you for
no,
meeting
welcome.
us. Like, we're so
Welcome.
excited to
Welcome.
hear your story and learn everything. So I think one of the first things I love, if you would just start by saying like your full name and your title and like a little snippet of what you do, and then we'll go into like the whole interview. So just start with that. That'll be square one.
Okay. So my name is Nicolas Lagos. I'm from Chile, from Santiago, but now I'm living in Puerto Natales, and I'm the coordinator of the Patagonia Puma coexistence project of the NGO Pantera. So my work here is to coordinate all the activities we do as an organization, as an NGO here in Patagonia, working mainly in methods on the approaches that goes towards the coexistence between human activities and the conservation of puma. So we started like 2021, a little bit more than 2 years, 2.5 years here. So this project is kind of new. It's just starting and started to grow.
Awesome. So one thing I always ask all of my guests that come on, since my show is also an exploration of who we are as conservationists. So let's go back in time to maybe Nico as a young boy. What is your story? Like, why did you decide to become a biologist when you could have done anything else?
That is a hard one because actually I'm from the city. I'm from the big city, from Santiago. Yeah. So a lot of people have this story have this connection with nature since they was a children, or some like super amazing encounter or something. But I know I was like the typical boy from the city who liked to be on nature, but I haven't been in connection with nature since I started to be on the university. When I was a boy, I liked, of course, to be out on the garden or on the nice outdoor places, but still on the city. That is way more different than in wilderness. So yeah, I like to see the bees, the snails on the garden, that kind of stuff. I think that that is something that is kind of inherent of people. This kind of connection with something that remembers you to nature is something that you have since you born. Actually, here in my house, I have full of plants.
Yeah, so, you have quite the green thumb.
Yeah, so this is kind of a thing, and I think with myself connecting with nature in any way. So my way to connect with nature when I was a boy was with my garden, with the things you see, with the butterflies, with the birds. But then it wasn't until I decided to study natural resources. It's kind of a bachelor in science conservation, and then actually it's kind of a bachelor in environmental science. And there was where I had my first immersions in nature with the fieldworks. I went to I don't know, to different places close to Santiago, to the city where I used to live before here. I started to know more about the species. So this new door who opens you to go like into the knowledge of the species opens another questions for you, and another willing as well to go to the field, to go to know more about nature, to ask you some questions. And I think that started everything in the university. But I had this kind of little spark since the beginning, but exploded in my school years.
So then where did cats come into play? Because it sounds like you were in love with nature in general. And so what was it, like a project? Was it school? Like, how did cat coexistence come into your life of all things?
Well, I think all this started with one cat, with the Andean cat. For the ones who doesn't know, this cat is a super endangered cat who lives in the Andes of Chile, Peru, Bolivia, and Argentina. And until I had 20, 21 years old, I never knew about the existence of this cat. And it was in a class where my teacher told us that it existed, this cat, but was super endangered in Chile, and it called the Andean cat. And I couldn't imagine that I didn't knew about this cat in my 21 years old. And after that, I think that cat started to be in my head, surrounding, but no more news came about that cat until my last years of the university, where I heard about an NGO, who is the Andean Cat Alliance, who worked for the conservation of this cat. So at that moment, I wrote an email to the coordinator in Chile of this NGO, who was Agustin Iriarte at that moment. And I wrote him, hey, I want to volunteer at your NGO. You need a hand with something, anything. I just going out from the university. So I want to know more about this cat. And I think this cat was the one who made me fall in love with cats, because it's like the essence of the cat is the Andean cat. Because you see the house cats that are like super like elusive. Even inside the house, they want to be hidden, to be like a part of you. Like they have this behavior that makes you like makes you more interested in knowing more about the cat. And the Andean cat is like that because it's a phantom. It's an animal that you go to the field, and I've been working for almost 15 years with this cat, and I have never seen it.
What?
So it's a phantom. Actually it's an invisible cat, and it's the essence of the cat. The essence of the cat is the animals that doesn't want to be seen, that they want to hunt hidden. They are not like foxes that are shown for people, are easy to see. Cats are super elusive, and the Andean cat is the more elusive cat, one of the most elusive cats in the world, and one of the most endangered. And that was the search of this cat led me after to work with what I'm working now with pumas, and in the middle working with other small cats in Chile as well.
Well, let's stay on the Andean cat for a second, especially since it's an endangered species. So I don't know much about them. I think I've seen one photo randomly. But could you tell us maybe a little bit more about it? Maybe more it's like biology and like its characteristics, like just like a small lecture about the Andean cat, other than it's super elusive.
Yeah, okay. For a podcast, it's hard to imagine because you don't have the picture of the cat.
Yeah.
So imagine a house cat, kind of double size of a house cat, grayish, with some darker spots of black colors and brown colors around the fur, and have like a very thick tail, super thick. That is the most thing that comes you to your eyes. That wow, this tail is not from a house cat. It's not from another cat. It's kind of maybe the snow leopard is more common.
I was going to say, is it like a heating, like in cold elevations? Is that what it's for?
Yeah, it is. There are so few sightings of this cat that the actual role of this big and thick tail, is not known. But we suppose that is mainly for the environment where they live. They live in rocky outcrops with a very high slope. So they probably use it for balance. Just like the snow leopard, there are many videos of the snow leopard using the tail when following the prey, and when they are falling, when they are like climbing on the mountains. Imagine that the Andean cat is a tiny version of the snow leopard, but grayish. It's kind of that it.
I'm in love. Like, just like that. I need to see one of these cats.
But yeah, the other thing super important about the Andean cat is that, well, it lives in these very particular places who are like rocky areas, rocky outcrops, cliffs, so places that are super hard to access. And so it's super specialized to those kind of areas. You can go to the high Andes in the places inside the distribution of the cat, and you will not find any clue about its presence until you go to these specific places. So this place is naturally fragmented in the high Andes. So the habitat is highly fragmented. The habitat is highly fragmented, and that's why it's also super endangered, because those habitats are also used by mining companies to extract water from close places from that. They build roads. They destroy actually some mountains. So one of the main threats for the Andean cat is the mining companies, the mining industry. And the other interesting thing about this cat is that imagine that this is a cat that has been like always like a phantom, always a cat who lives in the top of the mountains, in the top of the world, actually in the altiplano, you can hide from the 3,500 meters above sea level until 5,000 meters above sea level. So you are actually in the roof of the world, and in the top of those hills, the Andean cat lives. So for local communities, this animal is super special. So actually, it's considered a sacred animal. And there are several rituals and ceremonies where you have the image of the Andean cat. You have petroglyphs also in the Andes with the figure of the Andean cat, and always relating the Andean cat with the coming of the rains. In the rains comes here in summertime. In summer season, there comes the rains in this part of the desert. So the local community is something very welcome for, I don't know how to say it. It's the coming of the rain is something super unusual. It comes because the rest of the year the desert is dry. You have no rain, no nothing, and this is only in this season where the rain is coming, and then you have food for your animals, for the local people. You have water for agriculture, and you have life. Actually, water, the water in the desert means life, and the symbol of this life through the water is the Andean cat. So that's why it's super important for local communities.
Wow.
So yeah, the cat is super important in biological sense and also in a cultural way. It's like a keystone biocultural species.
Wow, that's incredible. So is there it sounds like it's so elusive. Is there even a population estimate, or what do you think? Like, do we have any sort of scale or like knowledge of how many there are?
Yeah, actually, there is one. We are actually doing another population estimate for the Andean cat, and we had to do one for the IUCN Red List. That this is a red list of endangered species around the world. So they ask for specialists to rank their species according to the threats, to the population numbers, if they are increasing, decreasing, and everything. And we did that exercise 10 years ago. And at that moment, we estimated less than 1,500 adults in the whole distribution. Imagine from half of Peru to half of Chile, Argentina, all the way through the top of the Andes. So it's a huge distribution. But all these 1,500 individuals like kind of scattered through this distribution.
That's a massive distribution too.
Super big. You can imagine thousands and thousands of animals in that distribution, but they are very few. And it's because of the biology of the species. The species needs to be living in these rocky places that are scarce in the high Andes of the Altiplano, and also because these places are threatened as well. So it's kind of a combination of things that make this cat to be so endangered.
So then what conservation actions are working to bring them back?
Well, we are working, the first thing when I started working in the NGO in 2007. And at that moment, there were very few records of the species, and also the knowledge about the ecology, the biology of the species was very scarce. So at that moment, the efforts were mainly focused on knowing more about the species. So, okay, where do they live? why so endangered, what do they eat, which is their connection with the communities, with the activities that threatening the population. So the first stages of the NGO was to know more about mostly biology, ecology. But then we learned, well, as all conservationists know and learn, that if you want to make conservation, then you need to work with people.
Exactly.
So that's why we are with the stage we are now. We are working closely with local community. In different programs, we have one program that is still working, mainly focused on the knowledge, like scientific knowledge of the animal, because there are still so many gaps of information. So we are kind of trying to fill those gaps. We have another program who is focused mostly in education, with a local school, with children, but also with adults, to do outreach outside the Andes as well, to the big cities, to people like living in places far away from the place where the cat lives. So the idea is to make the cat more known, because imagine that I knew this cat when I was 21 years old, so that is unbelievable. So one of the big debts we have as a conservationist is to show the people the species we have here, because they know more about the elephant, the giraffe, the lions than of the local wildlife. So that's another program. Another program we have is working with local communities, mainly local women, trying to find different ways to different okay, this other program is focusing working with local women, and the idea of this program is to find alternative ways of economic activities for the local people, for local communities. So we started doing a handicraft program with them. So our goal is to work with the people that are now living the rural areas. So this is something that is happening all around the world, that people living in rural areas are going to the city to find work, to find the way to earn money, and then to come back to their places to continue doing like being family with the community and everything. So our goal for this program is to make the people keep on the communities, trying to find alternative ways to earn money, to find economic ways for their livelihood. And we started with this handicraft program, with everything like from needle-felted cats to gloves, knitted gloves, sweaters, all of them inspired in the colors and in the figure of the Andean cat. So that's the other program we have. Other program we have is mostly focused in another threat that is happening in the southern part of the distribution of the Andean cat, in southern Chile, is central Chile and northern Argentina and Patagonia. So in those places, the Andean cat are being killed as a retaliation because of the losses on the livestock, but not caused by the Andean cat, because the Andean cat cannot hunt a goat.
It couldn't be that big enough, right?
No.
To take it down.
No,
there's
but
no way.
it's killed by the stray dogs, by pumas, by foxes, by other carnivores. But the people goes out and they put in the same bag all the carnivores, and they go out and they hunt whatever they find. So our goal with this program is to find no lethal ways to protect the livestock. So we are working with dogs, livestock guardian dogs, with some deterrents, helping them to do some management changes on the way they manage their animals, and finding any like methodology that could go to minimize the losses is something we can try to work with them and trying to both protect the carnivores and also save the livelihoods of the local people.
Are they going out then killing all predators that they see, including the Andean cat, or is the Andean cat itself being targeted?
No, any.
Anything,
They kill pumas, foxes, Andean
Do
cat,
they
pampas cat.
poison, or is it shooting?
Mostly shooting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because poison is just so bad
Yeah,
for the entire ecosystem.
No, mostly they go out to find the animals and they shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other program is to work towards a threat that we think is a threat or can be a threat in the future for the Andean cat, that is the transmission of wildlife diseases. So it's mainly as a way to control the stray dogs and stray cats of the local communities, sterilizing them, vaccinating them, to going towards a more respectful way of taking care of these pets, of these animals. Not only pets, but also animals that they use for work, like shepherd dogs and all of those. So that is another program we are working in.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the handicrafts for a second, is that one of the main ways to help fight mining, by giving these communities these local communities alternative means, like to get them to stay there? Then they wouldn't like support mining or anything like that, or is that happening regardless of what the communities feel?
Honestly, I think the best way to fight this threat, the threat of the mining companies, the big mining companies, is through policies,
Mm-hmm.
politics. So what we need, and it's something maybe we need to think about in the future, is to find a way to do lobby with politicians, go to talk with the enterprises that are working in the high Andes, because they are big. They have a lot of money, and of course, a way of living that can be generated through the handicrafts generates way less money than a member of the family going to work to mining. So this needs another way of connecting people with nature. That's the goal also of this this program too, is to reconnect the local people with the local animals, with the local customs, the local rituals, because we are also, as part of this program, we are also encouraging them to use traditional handicraft materials. They use sometimes cactus spines to knit.
Oh, cool.
So we are trying to revitalize these customs, these ways of living that are being extincted, as the Andean cat they are being extincted too. And through this way, we can make people more connected with nature, and they are for making them more aware of what is mining doing to their landscape. But yeah, I think if we want to do something in the short term, in the near future, we need to go into politics.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the hard part, because the conservationists are mostly coming from science, from biological science, now social science a little bit, but you need people who knows more about marketing, politicians. So yeah, I think that is something we can partner with some people that have this other kind of knowledge, but have the access to make changes from another sphere.
Yeah, I've said so many times on the show, it's not even funny. Like, when you start to get into this, you get in it because of the wildlife, but you quickly realize that the wildlife is fine. It's actually people. And most of the job is just managing people. It's like, yeah, conservation. I even had an amazing guest on in her episode. She even said it, like, conservation is a people problem. It's not an animal problem. And that's true, like, because if we can leave wildlife alone, then it's fine. So then how do we learn how to coexist with it again? And you just had a great example. I like talking about that from like the politician standpoint. And I actually was telling you a little bit about this amazing organization, Nicole. Just like as an example of like the power of when you can get so many like-minded people together. And her name's Frida Laura. She's actually a shark biologist, and she and I think 9 or 10 other women came together in Mexico, and they were with the goal of shark conservation. As you know, what's happening tremendously, and they've partnered with small communities that were dying because they were actually artisanal fishermen, and helping, like some of them were even lawyers. So like they were helping the local communities to get a voice to go speak to their government to get the illegal fishing boats out of their waters. So like as a perfect example of that, it's like if you can just get the right people to help empower these local communities to have a voice in their own government, because they should. I mean, it's their government too, no matter who it is.
Yeah, and actually, those are the people who have the knowledge, who have been living there in that territory for years, for generations. But the only thing is that they don't have the means, they don't have the contacts, maybe the tool or maybe some knowledge, a specific knowledge, but they know everything of what is happening. They realize that the earth is changing. They realize that the rivers are changing, the mountains are changing, and they talk to you about that when you are on the field. So they know everything, but we as conservationists that have contacts with other kind of people, we can conduct that and be the bridges between these people and these other places. But I agree that they should be the voice of what is happening there, because I'm still a foreigner. I'm Chilean, but I'm not living in the Andes. Right. I'm living here in Patagonia right now, but I haven't been born in Patagonia. So I'm still a foreigner here in Patagonia. So the only way that I don't think it's the only way, but I think that the correct way for do conservation is that the local people to be more empowered and to be part of the territory, because they are the ones who are there and will keep there. From time to time, the conservationists go to do some field work and some work in some places, but they are not constantly on that area. And we need people on the area fighting for what is happening there, fighting for the welfare of the local people, and also for the health of the ecosystem, of the species, of the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And because one of the main reasons why I switched my career to conservation tourism is because it's a solution. Like, it's not perfect. There are a lot of things that are wrong with conservation tourism, but there's also a lot of things that are right. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm here right now, is we're scouting 2 different trips to help bring income to the region, to help keep it this beautiful and pristine. People have an amazing experience, and then being able to loop in amazing conservationists that can tell these stories, then people care and get more connected. So is it possible for these communities, like, would that be of any interest to them, of like, is there like a ranch owner or anyone, like, would tourism be a thing in any way, or even starting with cultural tourism and then branching out to nature tourism? Is that as like an alternative livelihood, essentially? Would that be possible at all, or is that just too far? We're not there yet.
Actually, here is working. Here in Torres del Paine and close to Torres del Paine is the top 1 place to come to see and photograph pumas on the wild. So it's a unique place, and the puma tourism is starting to change how pumas are being seen in the area. But the thing is that puma tourism is not for everyone, because there is one place, who is Torres del Paine, where you have the opportunities to see a lot of puma. The highest density in the whole distribution of the puma is there. There are pumas that are now being more habituated to people, so people are not persecuting anymore the pumas. They are not hunting them anymore, so the pumas are not seeing people as a danger. So you have a mixture of different things who are happening there in Torres del Paine. Torres del Paine is the number 1 national park in terms of visitation in Chile. But as long as you go south towards Punta Arenas, let's say, you still have the same environment. You still have the same problems of pumas eating livestock. but doesn't have all the touristic attention there. Maybe doesn't have the same density of pumas, or cannot have the same density of pumas. I don't know. Maybe there are not enough praise to maintain such a big density of population as we see in Torres del Paine. So yeah, it can be a solution in some places, but I think we need to see this opportunity as at a landscape level. So in terms that you have some ranches that are being benefited by tourism, but in contrast you have other ranches that are, or they are not suitable for tourism, or they don't want to do tourism, because here they are ranchers. So ranchers, maybe they will only want to keep doing ranching. Maybe they don't want to receive tourists from other places in the world and show them the place. They only want to live a calm life with their livestock, with the animals, and keep doing what the fathers did, the grandfathers did in the past. And how you find a way to have these other people also benefited from tourism, because right now they are giving the worst part. Only since the population number is growing, there are more pumas around, and there are more pumas eating livestock. So the bad part is now on them, and the good part is on the other ranches who are closer to the national park. So the question now is how we move from this successful way of doing tourism and conservation to the whole region.
Yeah, and so this is perfect. This gets into the coexistence part that I would love to spend a lot of time on. Because just like you said, and I was just telling them, like when I went to Nepal for the Doubling Tiger Initiative, like that happened. It's like, yeah, that's fantastic. We have double the tigers, but people actually have to live with these tigers. There are consequences when we have more predators on the landscape. I always want more predators, but I'm also not ignorant to the conflict that happens when that happens. So as we're thinking about that, like I'm assuming this is a lot of your work, like how do we do that? Is there like a biodiversity credit program, or how does everybody in this whole landscape level ecosystem benefit from the influx of pumas and having the most diverse, like what did you say, the biggest density of pumas? Well, one, actually reverse. Why is this area the highest density of pumas in the world? And then how do we live with them?
Okay, so why? I think it's a mixture of things again. So one of them is that there's a national park there. So there is a place that where the pumas have been protected from a long time. Then it's a place where the prey density is high as well. The main prey of the puma is the guanaco. So in the park there is a huge density of guanaco who outside the park were killed in the past. In the past, the rangers killed the pumas and killed the guanacos as well, because the guanacos are thought to be competing with the sheep. So outside the park, you have people who kill the pumas and also who kill the main prey of the pumas. But inside the park, you have this island of conservation where you have from one side the pumas protected, on the other side lot of prey, and the other thing is a good habitat. The park have a very good habitat for pumas as a hunting grounds. If it's a way to say, it's like a very good places with high mountains, not super high, but small mountains with rocks and small valleys where the pumas can jump from one valley to the other super easily, and in each valley one group of guanaco, another group of guanaco, so they can kind of move from one place to the other super easily and successfully hunt the guanacos. And this now is spreading outside the park, because now the ranches who are neighboring the park are more interested in doing conservation and in doing tourism, and they are not killing anymore the pumas there. And from year to year, more ranches, at least right now there are 2 ranches that are now moving into tourism. So one can expect that this change can come for other ranches too. And the other question, what was?
The coexistence. So there's two ranches. Maybe let's stick on them for example as like let's stay on these ranches as an example of taking advantage of the opportunity at hand, and that is an international market that wants to come see these cats and charging a premium for that. So how have they done it maybe correctly? And then maybe what are some of the problems with it? But yeah, let's dive into this like the private tourism sector of cats, essentially.
Well, one important thing is that the puma tourism here is new. It started a little bit more than 10 years ago, but the boom of the puma tourism started properly 10 years ago. So it's kind of new. And it started without any regulation, without any way of thinking where it could lead in the future. So the way they are doing now is like a business. It's kind of any business where you do tourism, you take people to go birding. Now here you take people to go to see pumas. So you can do it inside the park, you can do it outside the park. This far, the ones who are being benefited by these enterprises are the local guides, the local tourism agencies, the ranches, but the other ranches that are not into the tourism are not being benefited by this. So this far, there is not a premiere of from tourism going to conservation, neither to other ranchers, nothing like that. And this is something that can happen, but needs, again, a lot of politics, a lot of meetings with people, getting into agreements between ranchers, maybe between tourism agencies, maybe to think about a way of looking the landscape from here to 20 years in the future or 30 years in the future. So I think that is one of the missing parts that can be done in the near future, that maybe we can do that, we can help to do that. Our idea is to help moving this wheel in that direction, in the direction of all people being involved and all people being benefited from conservation. So we don't want only a few people to be benefited or involved into conservation, but we need the other people to be happy as well, because this far you have happy ranchers who found a new way of doing an economic activity, but in Argentina you have ranchers who hate the pumas. Now actually there's a law who allows to kill one puma per week per hunter. So,
what? That's crazy.
So if you cross the border like 40 meters away from the national park, so the pumas are not protected. Inside Chile they are killed illegally, but outside it's legal. It's legal to kill pumas. So you are working with a species that have a big distribution. Subpopulation are communicated and they need to communicate. So you cannot stop this flux with you can have a place, a national park, plus some ranches that are protecting the pumas, but you are creating still an island. You need this island to be connected with other islands and hopefully making landscapes of conservation where you can find some ranches that are doing tourism, but other ranches that are not doing tourism, but they are keep doing ranching, but they are not perceiving losses because of pumas. So how you help those ranches?
Are you looking into anything like that? Because like having been all over the world now, essentially asking this exact same question: how do we live with predators? Like predator-friendly beef or livestock, or like NGOs that pay back losses for if like a government doesn't do it. Is any of that being experimented here, or what's working or what's not working?
Well, that leads up to the work that I'm doing here with Pantera. So I'm the coordinator of this Puma coexistence project of the Pantera Puma program. And the main goal of this project is to find ways for the coexistence between human activities and the conservation of pumas. in here, in this place where we are now in Torres del Paine and surrounding, the two main activities that are somehow related with pumas are tourism and ranching. So we are working with tourism, finding ways to regulate and making protocols for safe puma tourism, safe both for pumas and for people. So that is one of our main goals regarding tourism, to make it in a more responsible way, because right now we are like the tourism is like being adapted on the way. They are not being like thought in the beginning, since the beginning, and being planified. There is no planification this far, so we need to stop before it explodes. So our goal is to start working in this, so to make safer puma viewing and more responsible puma viewing in the area. And the other part of our work here is to working with the local ranches. So how to find no lethal ways to protect the livestock. That's one of the goals here. So one of them is encouraging the ranchers to work with livestock guardian dogs. So we are working with some ranches who are now working with those dogs, with Cerro Guido in Chile, in Argentina, with La Sofia Ranch. We are working too. They are both using these livestock guardian dogs to protect the sheep. And the other way we can implement some other methodologies towards the coexistence is through other kind of deterrents. So in this sense, we are developing with the university, the Universidad del Desarrollo of Chile. We are designing a sound and light deterrent for predators. So the idea of this is kind of the same way the dog works. The idea of the dog is to keep the puma away from the livestock. And we want to keep away the puma from the livestock also with these lights and sound devices that are being set on the field. So we are in a prototyping stage of designing these deterrents, and then the idea is to test them on the field with pumas in ranchers who have problem with pumas. And one interesting thing about this deterrent is that it was designed by collecting insight from the ranchers themselves and from researchers who work with ranches in other places of America. So we had several meetings with them, and we gathered all the recommendations, and all of them. We are making this kind of perfect deterrent for them, and the idea then for later is to test them on the field and then start to deliver them in conservation projects, in ranchers who want to use them, try them, test them, and doing that. And another thing we are doing in partnership with WCS is certificating, is through the eco labels. We are working with wildlife friendly eco label.
Yeah.
So our goal here is to certificate that some enterprises are doing their job, their activities in a way that are more responsible with their environment, not only with carnivores but also with birds, with the water. They are taking care of the territory where they are doing their activity. So in this sense, we will start working with tourism, certificating wool, and certificating meat. So this far we are working with 7 different ranches between Chile and Argentina, and our goal is also to certificate them, to give them this eco label that could in the future give them more access to other markets around the world, make them more competitive among other ranches who doesn't have the eco label. So this is another way to work together with the local ranches in different activities, coexistence activities that can lead to a benefit to the ranchers themselves. So that's the way you need to think. Is you need to think a way that the rancher also got benefited.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, because I think that gets lost a lot. Like, unfortunately, ranchers and farmers are demonized a lot. It's like, but their whole livelihood is at risk. Like, and they always care. That's their animals. And like, if something's killing your animals, you want to take care of that situation. So, yeah, I hate how much get demonized, but that's awesome. Like, that sounds incredibly exciting.
Yeah, you need to be on their boots.
Yeah, like understand it from their shoes, like be empathetic. It's like I understand. I'm like I'm not going to come here and tell you you're wrong. Like you are dealing with a real problem, especially if you're dealing with an influx of a rising population of predators. Like we just got to find a way to coexist.
Yeah, that's the way. And actually, in each place in northern Chile with the Andean cat, we are working in kind of similar strategies, but the way the ranching is being done there is so different than the way it's being done here, because in northern Chile, Argentina, Peru, Bolivia, with the Andean cat, let's say, ranchers are communities, are local people that are very few people who have like 20, 50 llamas or alpacas, and they do this by subsistence. Here you have a big industry who started like 130 years in the past, and what this industry was what made this region grow. So was the main, and still is now the main economic activity on the region, is ranching. So here you have big ranches, some of them of big wealthy people or wealthy companies, that some of them live here on their own ranch, but some other doesn't live here on the ranch. So the context is super different. So you cannot apply the same way you work in the high Andes in here. Here is the context is completely different. You can have the similar tools. We can use the same deterrents. You can use the same dogs, but the way you implement is depend on the context, on the culture, on the people, on the landscape as well. Here the ranches are huge. You have ranches of 10,000 hectares, 20,000 hectares, even 100,000 hectares.
It's huge.
Super big.
It's so big.
So it's huge.
That's a national park size. Like that's so big.
Yeah, actually, super big. So it's the long way. This way, the coexistence, I think, is the long way to getting into a long-term conservation of the ecosystem and of the species. But it's the way that I think that will last for a longer time, because we have been trying this from laws that avoid hunting, but you can still see puma hunting legal or illegal. There are still people unhappy that hate the puma. So the law doesn't change. You need people to be proud of having puma on their properties. How you do that? So that's a big way. How to you change the set of mind, this sometimes cultural way of thinking on local people, that could lead to having less pressure on pumas or any carnivore. So that's the big loop, and the good way of going into coexistence is to changing people behavior, but through their way of thinking, their perception, their cultural meaning.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to go about it too. Yeah, when
they
they get into your hearts.
It's not easy.
Yeah. No. Well, speaking of, one of the other questions that I always love to ask everybody I sit down with is, I mean, I know how hard this field is. It's hard. It's a lot of days are not fun, but we still get up every single day and we go out, we put on our boots and we do the work. So for you, why are you still doing this? What motivates you to keep going and do this work?
Oh, good question. Actually, I've never been trained to work with people. I wanted to work in this because I love to be on the field, on the mountains, walking with the animals, hopefully not talking with anyone, like being by myself on the middle of the mountain, setting some camera traps, looking for the animals, and now I'm here working, talking with people. So yeah, it's what makes me doing this and kind of traveling from this first way of working until this other, who is more like a social scientist than biologist, is because of the species of the landscape, because we are seeing how the landscape is changing. I can see how the mountains in the place that I was born is changing. There's less water. There are some places that are contaminated. There are some areas that you cannot access anymore. There are some burned places in central Chile. And all of this is because of us. This is because the human behavior, a human activity, made something bad for the environment. So yeah, seeing this place that I still love to be on the field. From time to time, I have the opportunity to go to the field, to go to the mountain, and set camera traps. And I say to myself, oh, I want to see this for a long time ago, and other people could see this as well. So the best way of doing this, I think, is the way is conservation leading now, is working with people. Because long time conservation was working in sanctuaries, in national parks, or trying to create sanctuaries that didn't make a long-term progress, because you get, and at one point you get against a wall, because you cannot create more pristine places, you cannot create more national parks, and as long as you create more natural parks, you create more conflict with people. What happened here? Actually, this conservation of pumas is creating more conflict, because now, even between ranchers, there are ranchers who think different. So some ranchers are now wanting to protect the pumas, and others are more unhappy because they have more pumas around, and they don't want to have pumas on the ranch. So this is leading to more conflict. So the way is to work with people and to learn how to work with them. And I think that I learned another thing also working with people, that you get I don't know, working with people gets you another kind of rewards, because looking people's faces on what they say, or having this connection with them, that I don't know, you know people from 2 years ago that they didn't know anything about they had, and now they are taking care of their environment. They changed their mindset. They are telling the children on how to protect the land. That is your reward. It's not anymore like seeing an animal or the animal you're working with on a camera trap, but listening to the people on how they are proud on having a healthy ecosystem on their backyards. So yeah, that is another unexpected way my work led me.
I believe that. That's what keeps me going. I'm sitting down with you right now in Patagonia, like looking at the fjord and the mountains. Like, I completely understand. I came into this industry for big cats, and this is what I do now. I sit down with incredible people.
And cats are amazing. Like cats, you cannot be unaware of cats.
Right.
People either hate them or love them.
Right. Yeah, but you know they exist.
Yeah, and once you start working with the cat, you love them. Here is the only place that you have the chance to see a mother raising cubs. The pumas trying to hunt. You know about the biology by seeing it. So before coming here, I studied the pumas by the tracks, by the camera traps that we set on the field. But here you can be easily the whole day looking for a female puma raising the cubs, going to hunt. Amazing. So this gives you another boost also to, wow, these animals are amazing. These phantoms are not so phantoms here, not anymore. You are getting into the intimate life of the animals. And this gives you, for me, was a reward coming for the first time here after, 10 years working without seeing any puma. Was amazing experiences.
Yeah, that's what I said, because I lived in Colorado for many years, and I did everything that was moral and legal to find one, and never did. Tracked, kill sites, everything. And I'm like, fine, I'll go to the opposite end of the world to finally see one.
That's incredible.
Yeah. those are all the questions I had in my head. And so I wanted to open it up. Has anything else come in your guys' mind? Did any questions come up about anything? Or if I missed something too, let me know. But I know I hit on a lot of stuff. Yeah. Did anything come up for you? Right. No? Yeah. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to make sure we chatted about? I'll check my notes too.
I don't know. I think we talk a lot.
Yeah,
we went from the northern Chile to Patagonia, so yeah.
Yeah, that's everything. Oh, I guess one more question I would like to ask. I also like nerding out on science. So could we actually talk a little bit more about like the biology of these cats and what we've learned like scientifically, like how you said, like, you're able to watch mother raise her cubs, and we can't do that anywhere else unless you have like super secretive camera traps, but like you can do that here. So from a science side, you can nerd out for a second on the science. What have you learned about studying these particular pumas, mountain lions, cougars, all the same cat?
Well, here I think that every population of puma throughout the distribution have their own stuff. Of course, there are some biology that are being shared, but what we have learned here is that probably here the pumas stay less with the mother until they are independent. We have seen cubs going independent a year, maybe less than a year.
Oh, really?
Between 1 year and a year and a half, but mostly at the year they are okay to go out and find their own territory. There are still many things that we don't know because there are very few studies of the species in here. It's paradoxical, but we are on it too. We are trying to find out how is the biology and the ecology of the puma here, because everything that we know about the puma is exported from other places, mainly from the US. But another thing, interesting thing is that is about the social behavior of pumas. So what we learned here is also that pumas are not solitary as we thought in the past. Actually, in 2016, in the US in Teton National Park, there was a study, a long-term study in there, where they found that some pumas were sharing carcasses between adults, something that you have never thought before. Actually, in the books you were taught on the university that you can see only pumas interacting because they are on a courtship or fighting. But here and also in the US, we found, and they found there in the US as well, that the pumas are more social than we thought. They are sharing their carcasses. They have the knowledge of who is who. They work kind of if it was kind of a neighborhood where you know your neighbors, and you sometimes you invite to dinner to your neighbors, and they recognize between them. They realize that this individual puma, already gave me or invited me to have dinner at her table. So now I invite her to my table, and they are interacting more than we thought. So actually, we have seen here groups of 10 or 12 pumas, different pumas,
what?
Females with cubs, independent cubs from other litters.
Amazing.
Adults, males, all of them interacting in a kind of peaceful way. There are some like stress and more kind of fights, but not kind of fights, but there is tolerance between them, but they don't fight like for the death for sharing this animal. They can share. Then they have also this opens also another book for the pumas, because you realize that they have a cognition. They are able to recognize other individuals and make decisions based on their previous experiences. So let's say if you shared a carcass with me, and then I go, and then I have a kill, it's more probably that I share my carcass with you than with other unknown puma. So they have the capacity, the ability of realize that you already gave me food, and make the decision based on that, on the previous experiences. So they are not killing machines that does nothing thing, and they kill whatever they have on the front. So they make a society. It's not a society, but
network
still,
of cats.
it's a network. They know each other. It's kind of a neighborhood. So that is super interesting. And now we are trying to learn about the feeding behavior, because here the main issue with the pumas is that they are being killed by ranches. So we want to know how often the pumas are going to kill the sheep. If the same puma that goes to kill the sheep, if it is adult pumas that are eating, or subadults, or transient pumas, and what we can do to protect them. Is this methodology efficient? Is the dog efficient? Actually, we are running now an experiment with the Cerro Guido Ranch, where we want to measure the effectiveness of the livestock guardian dogs to protect the sheep. How they protect the sheep against the pumas. And in economics, what this means. How much cost a dog, how many sheep they save. So we can go with the ranchers there and tell them, okay, this is a tool, this is the cost of the tool, you will save this amount of money, you need to do this in this way. So making science for the community, for the people. So that's the goal, is making science that works in the real world.
That's what we need.
Yeah,
we need real applicable science.
Yeah, well, we don't need the science that are kept on scientific journals that are being read by scientifics. We need things that are can be applied on the real world and help the species where we are working with.
Yes, conservation application.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. It's like, we're done talking. Like the theory's gone. Like it is time to do. Like we are at point critical, and if we're not doing and creating actual solutions to the problem, then there's going to be no more problem, because we're just going to lose all of our wildlife.
Yeah, actually, I think that we are the generation that can be witness of the extinction of many animals, of many ecosystems. I can see from myself that some places that I used to go when I was 10 years ago are not looking the same in 10 years in a small window. So things are changing fast. So yeah, you can look outside here, you can see the fjords, but you have also the fjords being threatened by salmoniculture. You have other places being threatened by the logging. So, and we are the generation who are being witness of this transformation. And if we don't do something now, the next generation will not be able to see the same thing that we saw.
Yeah. We're doing it, right?
Hopefully, yeah. We need to
review.
We need to believe it. If not, I don't know what we are doing. Yeah.
Conservation heroes. That's what I say everybody that I meet. I'm like, everybody's conservation heroes.
Yeah, it's not like being a martyr, but it's also, I love what I do. I think if I wouldn't love to be on the field to work with this animal, maybe I would finish doing something else. It's a mixture of things, that the thing with what I love, I can find a way to help, to protect, to conserve. Yeah, but we are not martyrs. We are people who love the place where we live. We love some environments or some animals, and we are trying to make a better world for the next generations.
That we are. I love it. Okay, now, does anybody have any other questions? I was like, let me check my notes. Awesome, Nicolas. Well, you're amazing, and thank you for hosting us in your super beautiful home. And I love the vibes of this place, and your views are just, you live in paradise. Like,
you have not pumas here, but
yeah, like we could go drive and see them.
You can see. They are close.